So in the third part of the film about Osp in Slovenia, I have 3 routes for you, aimed at climbers of different levels, 8A+, 7C and 7A+. First up is Sonce graded 8A+. For many years there was no real consensus about the grade. Older guidebooks even listed it as 8A, and on 8A.nu climbers logged it both with and without the plus, sometimes adding even a soft tag. However, a few years ago there was a comment about the potential hold broken, and since then the number of ascents has dropped and the grade opinions have evened out. Nowadays everyone pretty much agrees on 8A+. So what happens on the road? It starts with a small border problem that ends up on a jacks also used on Strelovod. Then comes the next difficulty, moving up from a small edges, including a small underclink with a high feet to a fairly decent ledge, the one that Mateusz is resting right now, and this is the only rest place. And from there you hit the main crux, a diagonal sequence on a poor directional holds leading to a very hard clip. And after that there is still a few hard moves on the slightly better holds, but the moves are long and the holds are directional, so it's still not easy terrain. And once you reach a good jog, the route is basically over.
Dawaj, dawaj. Dawaj, napnij się, wspinaj ostatni ruch. Dawaj, Mateusz, dawaj. Dawaj, Mateusz.
Nie ma chuja, przejebana jest ta finka.
Ominąć by się dała, już jest bardzo mały margines.
Nie, ja myślę, że jest słabo, bo ta kolejna też jest... Można jej już nie wpiąć. Na nabiciu.
So when it comes to climbing logistics
cisnę.
and trip planning, Osp is about 9-hour drive from Krakow. Usually you pass through 3 countries, Czech Republic, Austria and Slovenia, and you need a vignette for all of them. There are several accommodation options. Very popular climber-friendly hotels like Zazit Hotel and Ociski Raj, as well as many different apartments available on platforms like Airbnb. The closest large cities are Koper and Trieste on the Italian side, which makes shopping easy and helps saving time on driving. As for the climbing sectors, going from right to left, we start with Misja Pec, which itself is divided into 2 so-called fridges and the main wall. In the fridges you can climb from the large part of the year because they stay in the shade and they are pretty cold when it comes to temperature. In practice you can comfortably climb there from September to May. On the main wall, however, the sun hits around 1 AM to 1 PM depending on the route, so in the summer months climbing there doesn't really make sense. Next there is a big cave which is often flooded. There are many photos where the belayer is standing in the kayak and the climbers look like they are deep water soloing. Climbing there is a very physical and mostly involves moving between huge stalactites and then resting efficiently using knee bars. The roads are very long, up to 50 meters. After that we have a small sector called Banie, which is literally part of the village of Osp. There are over 40 routes, mostly in small overhang or on vertical walls. The rock features feel like transition between Spanish limestone and a Polish Jura. There are slightly signs of tufas, but there is a lot of edges and small holes. The rock is also much wider. And at the very top we have a Babna sector with over 100 routes, nicely spread across grades, from easy grade of 5ths all the way up to 8B. At almost every grade you have several routes to choose from, which gives you a lot of flexibility when picking your goals. The sector is in the sun for almost the entire day, so it's best for winter or cloudy days. But coming back to the routes from the film. Hobbit is in the top 8 most popular routes in Osp. Considering the grade of 7C and comparing it to other routes on that list, many of feel which are closer to 7A, this route is really extremely popular. It's a classic power endurance climb on a steep overhanging with a decent holds, full of tricks, toe hooks, heel hooks or knee bars. Of course you can climb in a less technical way, but will definitely feel much harder. Fun fact, in the left upper corner you see one of the ex-World Cup climber, and she's just casually climbing and warming up on Corto 8A. Yeah, some people are super strong. Here is one of the rests on Hobbit. After that we have a few slightly slopey or directional holds. And after that clip we have last herd moves. One, Szymon grabs the big hole you see above him on the right, and he grabs it with both hands and moves his feet into a no hand rest. The route is theoretically done. Let's see how it goes. Unfortunately, he doesn't send it on this attempt, but luckily about an hour later the route goes down. The last route is presented by Isa. It's a more continuous climb on reasonably good holds. Even though it doesn't look like this, on the film it looks more like a festival of crimps. According to the comments on 8a.nu, most of the holds are really decent and positive. The line is to the right of the routes we have already seen, like Strelovod and Sonce, but the rock here is not as overhanging. Actually, it's a vertical wall. I don't have much to say about that route because I did it probably like 15 years ago, so I don't remember a lot. And what I can say is that the video quality near the top will be really poor, so sorry about that. And maybe prepare sunglasses not to get blind because of the white. But unfortunately this is a common problem when filming routes that start in the deep shade covered with trees and then end up with a head wall where the sun reflects strongly from the wall. But since I don't have much footage from that route, this is the only edit I could put together.
Dawaj, dawaj. Dawaj.